Alright, everybody, welcome back to our Slayer album review series. We left off last time with the very controversial Diabolus in Musica. You know, we talked about that down in the comments, had some pretty cool discussion about that. That was, pretty interesting stuff, people's takes on that album and everything. But now, we've entered that really, kind of strange era of the band throughout the 90s. Again, if you watch the reviews, doesn't mean it's a bad era at all, in my opinion. It just is kind of different. A lot of experimentation going on, which is kind of what a lot of bands were doing in the 90s. As the grunge movement came on and kind of shook things up in the music scene and everything. But now we're talking about we're entering the 2000s for these guys with their 2001 album, God Hates Us All. And we've got an absolute insane looking album cover here. Again, this one very controversial. You got the nails in the Bible and Slayer burnt into it. Really cool back cover. And this is one of those covers that they had to censor in the stores, and they put in this little sleeve in there to cover up that until and then you take it out whenever you get the album and or you change it over. But but you see, even though even then, I do think that's a kind of a cool little what is a cool cover too. So I mean, for people who left that in there, I think that's a pretty cool cover as well. But this is the what is the actual cover of the album. But yeah, this one dropped. This is a weird coincidence, but an album called God Hates Us All drops on 9/11/2001. Pretty strange. The band got a lot of backlash from this. You could read into it, and there was just some weird stuff. And, you'll look even on, if you've got Spotify, and you check, the release dates of the album, they don't even want to say it. So they just say January 1st, 2001. And I find that kind of funny. It's like, my God, like, they're not even going to, they don't even want to say it. But then it came out then, even though that's just what happened. Kind of, again, a really weird coincidence, but, I don't think Slayer had anything to do with 9/11. So, but with that being said, yeah, guys, overall, this album, we are back to kind of what the roots of the band. They did kind of their experimentation, and tried out a lot of different things throughout the 90s, but they came back with one of the, and it started off the 2000s with one of the most pissed off, aggressive sounding records I've ever heard in my freaking life with this right here. And it opens up with Darkness of Christ, which is kind of, you hear like a really kind of quiet riff going on with some news reports, kind of going on. Kind of just an intro track to what's about to freaking explode, I tell you. Because after that little intro, which is cool, kind of a cool setup to the album, then we enter in with Disciple, which is just a brutal track. Right off the bat, they're like, hey, we're back, by the way, and, we're not fucking around. Like, I mean, you've got them screaming, God hates us all. Just absolutely insane. Just some of the best vocal work I think Tom Araya has ever done, as far as just the power and aggression in there. Really cool riff here. Disciple is a major standout on this album. Then we go on to God Send Death, another really cool one with the cool riff. They start, and they do kind of like how I said last time, where they do maybe take the things they liked from trying these new things on albums prior and everything, and they maybe incorporate a little bit of that in there. This one, the chorus kind of has like, even the verses, I think, a little bit too, have kind of that like vocal effect, kind of like that you heard quite a bit on Diabolus in Musica, that kind of distorted sounding vocal. But I mean, that doesn't. I mean, this is in no way a new metal track. I mean, if someone were to think that, then, I guess that they would be thinking that, but I mean, I just don't see that being a new metal track at all. God Send Death, just because of that vocal effect on this particular track. And we get another really cool thing. These guys, they're Hanneman and King are experimenting with some wah-wah pedals on here, which is really, really cool. I think this fits just fine with Slayer. You know, gives it that really just chaotic and distorted feel. So we get some of that going on in here. So God, Sin, and Death, another major, major track that is just awesome. Then we go with New Faith, and my God, this one is one of my favorites off here. Just the aggression is there, the pissed off emotion, the speed is back for these guys. Just, I mean, faster, faster and faster. A lot of these tracks, it's just crazy the speed. They've picked it right back up. This one I love. There's just really, really awesome kind of breakdown near the end of the track where like all the instruments go silent, and then Tom Araya is talking about he leaves his Bible in the pool of blood, so its lies don't affect him. But he says it in just this mean-spirited way. But like, and that's a good thing because I mean it's Slayer we're listening to. But and it's such a kick-ass moment, not only on this song but just on this album overall. So New Faith, one of my absolute freaking favorites off here. Then we go on to Cast Down, which just has such an incredible freaking riff in it. Huge fan of that riff and the kind of the groove that this one's got going. You get some incredible, some of the band's best riffs, I think, on this album as well. And Cast Down hosts one of their best riffs out there. I mean, I just love this thing. And again, just kind of a speedier track with such a cool groove to it. Then we go on with Threshold, and yet again, we're just firing. They're firing off on all cylinders here. Threshold is another just freaking blast of a track, a pissed off track. I keep saying it, but it's true. The first thing this album's like the embodiment of anger. It's not Metallica saying anger that's the embodiment of anger. It's this right here. But yeah, no, the Threshold, just another incredible track that we're just track after track here. They really, they were like, it's showing here. We're almost halfway through the album here, and they haven't missed a beat, and it's like showing. They were like showing that, hey guys, we're back here, a new decade, and we're gonna be what we are. We tried some different stuff throughout the 90s, did the whole cover album thing, dabbled in the new metal thing, kind of evolved their sound a little bit, and this was just the next the next step in evolution for them. But yeah, Threshold is another track that really kind of it embodies that feeling of hey, we've done what we need to do. This is what we're about, and here's laying it all on the line. So love that one. Exile, man, this is one of my favorite. This probably is my favorite off here. As far as the aggression goes, this is probably the most pissed off song I think in their entire discography. I mean, you get lyrics like, "You self-righteous fuck, give me a reason not to rip your fucking face off, because I'm the one who's gonna tear your fucking heart out." Wow. I mean, just absolutely, just, and it just, the way it's coming across here, and then, you get screaming, "Exile!" Just, such an incredible track that is a massive standout. Always been one of my favorites off here. And just because the lyrics they're simple. It's just simple. Here's the message we're sending. There, there it is. But it's just so damn effective because the emotion behind it. Then we go on to Seven Faces, which has kind of one of the dark, kind of brooding intros to it. But then speed picks up, and Boss Staff's throwing those awesome, odd time signatures on them drums. Everybody's on their A game here, and I'm always a fan that when those tracks that kind of have like those cleaner guitar tones, that, or mainly like the intro of the tracks. There's several Slayer tracks throughout their discography where there'll be like a track that kind of starts off with kind of a cleaner, dark, and brooding intro, and sometimes that carries over into the verse or whatever. But Seven Faces is one of those that kind of, makes a cool change of pace on the album there for a minute. Then we go into Bloodline, which kind of does something similar. This one also is kind of has that same feel to it. This time carrying it, further into the verses and everything, making for a really cool track. I really like the lyrics on this one. Solid stuff. Then we go into Deviants. Man, I love the melody on this one. The melody in the chorus that's just yelled at the top of Tom Araya's lungs is such a hooky one, while still being super freaking heavy, hooky and heavy. That's what this track is right here, Deviants. This one's always been a standout for me too, and it's one of them ones you just want to hit when you're just listening through different tracks in the album, not all the way through or whatever, that you're gonna go boom, going right to Deviants. Then man, oh man, the you want to talk about the speed. They close it out here with these last few tracks with some of the fastest stuff on the album. Warzone literally starts off sounding like a machine gun from Paul Bostap's drums, and then Hanneman and King and everybody just chimes right in to make it sound like a freaking war zone. Super fast, really heavy stuff, powerful stuff, man. But I think that was a really cool kind of effect that the drums that Bostaph had on this one, where they straight up it sounds like a machine gun fire at several like in the intro, several times during the song as well, where it just that just man, he's nailing it. And that's just the beauty of this stuff. Then we go with Here Comes the Pain, another really fast one, in which you can feel the pain that they would that they're talking about through the lyrics, through the speed and the anger. It's all there, and I would maybe say if I had to pick a least favorite off here, it would maybe be this one though. Here Comes the Pain would maybe be my least favorite, but it's probably either between that one or the last track here, Payback. And I do love both those tracks. Those are both incredible tracks. But I talk about my favorites off here overall. Then I always try to at least say what my least favorite probably is. And I would maybe say it's either Here Comes the Pain or Payback. Although I think Payback, those are two amazing tracks off the album. That just shows you, I just think that the others definitely stand out more, but Payback, to talk about it a little bit, another really speedy track that is an incredible way to close out the album. It's just, and I love the ending where it's just how Slayer often ends it, you'll just hear like a big chug of a riff and then bam, it's, love that, and Payback kind of follows suit to that. But yeah, I would say probably one of those two are my least favorite. But every track on here, if you can't tell, I love it. Very evil, angry, mean-spirited album. Those words, aggressive album. Those are the perfect adjectives to describe this thing, and and I mean that in the best way possible. Saying those, harsh, adjectives to it. But I mean, because when you're listening to Slayer, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear, the crazy, the speed, the emotion, and this is really, going through all these in order again, this really is like a breath of fresh air. Again, not that I didn't like the Diabolus and Musica, and there's a lot of this stuff through, the other couple albums, through the 90s and everything. Because if you watch my reviews, I have, mostly positive stuff to say about them. But this just really was a return to form for Slayer. But not in a way that it sounds like, oh, okay, let's just completely copy what we did on Rain and Blood, or South of Heaven or Seasons. It's the natural. It's almost like it's almost like if they would have maybe said, okay, let's skip out on a cover album. Let's skip out on a. It sounds like like you could go. The best way to put it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that you could go from listening to like Divine Intervention or Seasons in the Abyss straight to this if that stuff didn't happen in the 90s and they did take whatever, like a 10-year break or whatever, it would still sound like, okay, the evolution is clear from that album to that album. Although, of course, we were awesomely treated with the albums in between. But I'm just saying, like, it would still make sense, the evolution. You could still hear it without those albums, which really shows, the band's strength. But yeah, guys, this is just an incredible record. I know if maybe, again, we've talked about it a little bit, but I mean, if you're watching the Slayer review, then you're probably chill with it anyways. But the title, God Hates Us All, and the album cover could be a turn, a turn off for you, a turn away for you. And I get it. It's not for everybody or anything, but this is just, in the name of music here. It's just super fun stuff and an absolute blast of an album that really invokes a lot of, like, just chaotic emotion that makes for a really fun listen all the way through, and just all around. So, yeah, guys, God Hates Us All. Incredible freaking album. Really excited to be up in this 2000s area with the band kind of returning to form. Again, just going in order has been really, really fun. Because, I heard these albums, for the most part, just kind of scattered out in different orders. So, like, that's really one of the most fun things to hear about, one of the most fun things about whenever I do these reviews and then eventual rankings is just going in order completely and hearing the evolution. You just get a better sense of that. But yeah, and it's really prevalent here. But yeah, guys, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and maybe if you keep that other slipcover up there, which again I would totally understand. You're not lame for it if you're not, if that is offensive to you, you're not lame for it. It's to each their own. Do you guys love this album and kind of the direction they were going, and do you think it was a return to form? Because I do. Maybe you guys don't, and what we could even talk about down there how weird it is that it came out on 9/11/2001. But I would love to get some conversation going about this album, because this is just such a really interesting album and a really, really cool album in their discography. So yeah, guys, we've entered into the 2000s. Slayer, God Hates Us All. That means next time we'll be jumping to 2006, I believe, with Christ Illusion. So stay tuned for that one. We're getting closer and closer to finishing up these reviews until the eventual big ranking. So stay tuned, guys, and just keep hanging in there. We got three more albums after this one to do until that ranking video. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment, and thanks.